Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Barcast TV. It is October 11th, 2024. I'm Barcast, and today I'm joined by our new BPL champion, reigning BPL champion, Yudi. Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hey. Uh, nice to have you here again. We're not reviewing the BPL finals like I guess, kind of have planned, but today I brought you on to criticize my gameplay and give me some coaching. So hopefully that works out. I have a couple of replays. The first one is myself versus Tags Low on Sierra Lotta. Spoiler alert, I lost this game. And then the next game I have for us is myself versus Alt F4 on Tundra. So a couple of good mix of games. I've got these pulled up on my own monitor. Yudi, you have these kind of pulled up in a second game as well.
What are you watching it right now?
Yeah. So I just started. I'm at about 15 seconds. And if you want me to pause, just pause it. I'll pause it and then just let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'm looking at your screen, so it works for me. I can catch up. Well, so far so good.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't make mistakes in the first 40 seconds. Right?
The openings are basic. Hopefully,
yeah,
nothing wrong happens here. Not stalling. Yeah, so far it's looking good.
I was like, I 25 wind speed. You can go 2 wind, 3 mechs into bot lab, right?
Yeah, kind of not saying anything, I guess. Defense not saying anything. Everything's going perfect, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I make plenty of mistakes this game, but I imagine it's going to be a little bit later on, like hopefully past the open, right? So.
Right now, you have a good balance. You're not really stalling or accessing. That's what matters.
I decided to put that LLT between the 3 mexes here. A lot of times I've just been skipping that and just making the radar on that like forward high ground on that little hill, but I'm just kind of
observation here is that you're skipping this max, the first max, and you're going to the further one for some reason. Is there a reason for that?
I think that's a carryover from like FAF, where you had to be a little more diligent with like the build radius AI. So
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
you want to build 2 maxes at once without having to walk. I guess.
Yeah.
That's good. That is fun.
So getting the con turret up. Not sure if I should be walking with that con after putting down the blueprint, but
your con could be walking right now. Not the commander, but the con, right?
Yeah. I wonder,
especially because you're stalling energy right now.
Right.
And now you're losing metal. And so at this moment you could already be expanding to your maxes faster rather than having the con assisting it. And of course, you're making or investing unnecessary resources into units that you're not really using. Like, you're being over defensive. You should be at least using 1 or 2 to scouts and see if the enemy is potentially doing the X Factor build, the famous one.
Right.
And the other thing, of course, instead of making a grunt, you could have made a rest bot to reclaim the trees.
Right, I think I have that as like the 5th one. It's so after this con, the rest bot's gonna come out. So, but
it's an observation that you can grid a bit more, right? When the wind is so high, you have units so fast that you can actually get away with greenie a bit more.
Right.
And you can make like a rest bots before investing so much into grunts. You already have 6k energy into grunts. That's quite a lot of energy, and that's the main reason why your economy is so crippled right now. You kind of lost a bit of metal by stalling energy, and now you're forced to make a solar, which could have been prevented if you made the rest bot really earlier.
Yeah.
So that's already a big mistake, I would say. Also, because you made so much build power making grunts, I feel like you didn't really need to make the LOT just because you had so many grunts early on.
I see. That's a good
It really
point.
depends on the wind speed, right? The wind speed, it really decides. You really gotta adapt. Right? Like, if the wind is low, you're kind of not making any units, and so you kind of have to be a bit more defensive. You cannot really grid as much, and so you gotta go. So yeah.
So sorry, you said when the wind is low, you can't greed as much.
Yeah, because you don't have energy to build those units, and the enemy can easily like make rovers, or he can be an incisor, and you don't need as much energy to make incisors, so he can really punish you by making scouts, but because when it was very high, this game early on, you were able to make so many grunts early that the grunts were so fast that like the moment the rovers come to your base,
Yeah,
your units are already like out, so you're not in risk in danger of losing access to any raids, right?
I
With
see.
proper
I
micro.
see.
So like that's one of the strengths of having high wind. You can just play greedier because you can say yeah.
Okay,
So, yeah.
so I'm thinking a small adjustment I could do then would be to like naked expand to those 3 mexes, and if the time
Yeah,
if the wind drops and I have to like play defenses, then I'll put the LLT down, something like that.
yeah.
Or
So, or you could just commit and not make an LOT and just
yeah,
rely on your unit micro.
yeah.
That's what I like to do.
Hmm.
For me, LOT is kind of a trap. Although making LOT in free max clusters is kind of good. It's just a safe play. You just want to play. You don't want to risk it too
Right,
much.
right, right.
You're not really investing that much. So, yeah.
I'm gonna unpause. Sorry, I just paused there for a moment to get that out of the way. Here's where I make the forward radar. You know, keep moving to the middle with my commander.
Hey, right now it's looking very solid. Not many mistakes. I feel like you may have overbuilt nanos because you're kind of struggling with metal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's not really a big deal since bots are very cheap. So it's looking kind of good. I feel like the only issue right now is just you're not really being proactive. You're kind of just not really using the units that you made so much so earlier. Like you could have been applying some pressure on your opponent. So yeah, that's probably the only mistake you're making right now. But so far, when it comes to macro, it's not really any crucial mistakes. So yeah.
Maybe maybe I could start thinking about an energy storage right now.
Yeah, or you could be making 1 or 2 converters. Both
Yeah,
works,
yeah.
right? I feel like making some converters would be very good. But yeah. Yeah, I feel like I can just watch your screen. It's kind of awkward watching my own screen
Okay.
going back to yours.
Okay.
I can just watch your screen.
So on this map, it's been a while since I played it, so I forgot after moving into mid and like battling slash securing mid, I like to move my commander to one of the corners that their commander isn't at, and I didn't really do that this game. So you'll see Slow's, or I guess Low starts going towards the left, trying to secure like top left. So that means I would want to go bottom right, but I never really made that move with my commander. So I think that kind of bit me in the butt a little bit. But then again, I've lost games on this map doing that very move, going from center to bottom right to try and secure it, and I just lose the game because my commander dies, right? So
Look at the bigger picture. I feel like it's more like less about where you move your commander and more about like the overall micro. Like right now, you're stalling your energy.
right.
So I just whether you move middle or one of the corners, I feel like both is just a solid option. That is just. Also, you're making rocket bots. I just noticed. I disagree with that unit choice. Why are you making those?
I just made 3 in case I have to contest mid, right? So, like, say his commander shows up in mid and he wants to fight over it, I would have 3 rocket bots out to kind of like pressure him off.
Yeah,
of it, so
but
to
like
speak.
instead of fighting over mid, maybe you could like make more grunts to contest the other sides,
Right.
like the corners. I feel like you would be getting more return doing that rather than trying to risk contesting middle, because then you're going for an attrition battle, right? And I
Right.
feel like it's not, in my opinion, it's not really the best approach. Nice LLT something there. So yeah, I just feel like Rockos are just way too expensive early in this game. I feel like the reason why you're losing your grunt battles right now is just because you have
3
less
Rockos.
grunts because
Yeah.
you made those metal, you invested those metal into making Rockos. So like, I feel like if you made grunts instead, you could have won the left side engagement. And you could have like denied every single max in the left corner, top left corner by raiding him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, yeah, I should have just made more grunts. just-
Solid advice, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. A little sloppy here. I'm noticing is like I just lose this con for free. Like I saw it on Vision and didn't move it back. I just
Oh, I didn't even see the con.
yeah, it's right
Oh,
there.
the back. Yeah.
Yeah,
At moments like this, you just want to instantly send the rest button and just ready.
Yeah,
right?
I think I have
So you
some
can
on the
make
way
the
right now,
access.
but
Mm-hmm.
they're going to the high ground. But
You're making pounders. So I like to see pounders as like a unit you make at the middle stage, at the mid game stage, where you kind of already secured half of the map and there's nothing really much going on. But at this stage, like Slow is probably still expanding to the maxes,
Right.
and he's kind of not stabilized yet. And that's where you wanna make incisors, so you're able to find openings so that you can raid his maxes, right? And you can already achieve that by making pounders.
right.
And so, like, I feel like pounders are just too slow for this map, and they also cost a lot of energy because like they require very little build power to make, and because you have like so many nanos on your lab making pounders, you're kind of struggling with energy. You're also making a geo at the same time, and I feel like at moments like this, you wanna prioritize focusing the geo instead of making units.
Right,
It's
right.
kind of hurting your economy quite a lot. Or you could be making a few soldiers
Yeah,
before
yeah.
focusing the geo.
I could have the 2 labs
That's
like
a
turned off to finish
more
it.
observation. Yeah. Just putting the labs on low power, but they probably already are on low power. Yeah.
That one, this one's on.
Oh yeah, you were making shurikens. That's like a. So I would avoid making air when you're making geos because air is so energy expensive.
Right,
They
right.
require a lot of heat to make, and you want to avoid making both at once. Like, you want to prioritize one, focus one at a time, and then you start making air, right? To prevent this from happening. Like, you never want to install energy. That's like a general rule of thumb that. It's a very basic concept, but a lot of people struggle with. It's really easier said than done.
Yeah, of course.
Simple as it may sound. So. And I feel like when it comes down to it, you just gotta look at your economy bar more often, right? I feel like that's. You just gotta be paying more attention, and yeah. There's no other way. Okay, so your shurikens, you kind of want to group them more. Like, if there's like a large amount of grunts, they can easily overwhelm your shurikens.
Right,
They're
right.
low numbers, so you really want to avoid them sending in small groups. You want to send like 10 instead of like sending 5, right? Because they can easily die because they get overwhelmed. So. Also, I would say I would just send the shurikens once my units arrive, because if you reveal the shurikens too early and you don't have units to save to kill the units, like the enemy has a small time window to be able to
Retreat.
make his own air
Okay.
and kill the shurikens before your units arrive.
Right.
And that way, like, you're not gonna be able to kill any units even though you have stunned them for a while. So I would say you wanna avoid revealing your shurikens too early. So yeah, here you're accessing 1k energy per second. This is all macro issue that we already know about. And yeah, I feel like if you just made incisors instead of pounders, you could have easily won the fight on the right side engagement if you had incisors instead of pounders. But because you made pounders, you're kinda... Your arm on the right side kinda... You couldn't really send your reinforcements fast enough to the right side.
Yeah, they were all
pounders
in
are way
bid.
too slow.
Okay.
And then you kinda ended up... He kind of ended up catching up in grunt number, and he had superior numbers, so therefore he won the battle, and you lost to the right side of the map. So
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, right now it's kind of looking bad, although you do have the middle, but he has like 3 corners, you only have 1, so it's at this point, like, there's nothing really much I can say, but you kind of have to go for a play, I would say.
Yeah, that's
you
what
can't really play slow here, play for a long game, because you're gonna be behind. So I feel like, yeah, you just have to go for a play. Maybe some bombing run to kill his wind, or like try to contest a corner somehow by like sending tanks and shurikens at the same time. So you take a bad engagement, right? Stuff like that. You should know about those things already. So it kind of feels weird saying this, but yeah. Well, I feel like you're kind of running a time bomb because the more you the more you wait, the more he stabilizes all his fronts, and at some point he's gonna have every single expansion covered in units and defenses, right?
Right.
So you have to go for a play right now before he gets to fortify his expansions, you know. So, okay, so I feel like uh, yeah, we're now at this point. The game is kind of it's a clusterfuck. Like there's so much going on. I can't really tell because I'm watching your screen, so it's kind of hard for me to.
I can pause or like just look at
so.
the like do this right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be better if you can see everything, right? Rather than watching from your. Okay, so can you pause for a moment? Okay, so like, I kind of lost. I have to think about it. So right now I feel like you should really be focusing on
Fixing the
really
E issue.
just just focusing on fixing your macro. And I feel like I would avoid making tanks and go for more medium tanks, although both are good because you can have access to res box. But yeah, you should fix the E, and I feel like yeah, that's pretty much it. There's
Yeah,
nothing really
yeah,
much to say,
yeah.
right? I guess you could be going for the maxes quicker. You have a lot of maxes on taken, right?
Yeah, I see that. There's like
Mm.
one like ones I could very well have taken, or like this one, this one, this one. I have like an aircon over there. I
Oh
had
yeah, you can take. And I always forget about those back maxes, but you can take them with the air cons, right?
yeah, I grabbed this one on the
So
right side, and I guess was trying to get a radar there. It got shot
yeah,
down.
that's a good thing to note. So yeah,
Um, I
I think
think.
one small thing you could. Yeah. You can say first. You
Oh,
can
I was just
continue.
gonna say I have a couple of resbots coming up, but I very shortly like reclaim this lab here in a moment. I think after I get just a few of these
Oh
out.
yeah, I like that decision. But
So
one thing you could also do is reclaim the vehicle lab in your base and make the vehicle lab forward, right?
right. Um, I,
And
I I guess I have more build power here, so that I wouldn't think to necessarily do that. Or
yeah,
is
but the
that
thing is, you're kind of stalling your material to begin with,
right? Right.
so it's not like you can use all the build power you currently have. You're
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
um, you kind of cannot afford all this build power. That's why running on free labs is just not efficient right now. It's not optimal because you're kind of struggling with metal. So
Okay.
in order to maximize unit production, you wanna like at least reclaim one of the free labs. And I would say you want to make a few res bots and reclaim the lab, just like you said. I think that's the right decision. But then you can just make a vehicle lab forward, and then you
Right.
can transport the cons forward as well with the
Right.
transport.
Right.
So
Right.
that's another thing you can do. Although that's very APM taxing. That's something not even I wouldn't think about doing. So yeah. Well,
I
at this, yeah.
oh, it just seems like a lot of this has been the E issue has been consistent throughout the game. So
Yeah. Well, I feel like the main mistake you made was just like early on you kind of didn't make use of the high wind advantage, right?
mhm.
You didn't really apply pressure. Like you had so many grunts because you rushed a very quick nano. And because you didn't make a rest spot, you didn't really expand like fast. You kind of made an LOT. You were playing very defensive, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like you should have taken that was not the right approach to take. I feel like you should have been more aggressive this game because you committed so much into early grunts, right? Like
Right.
there's no really any point in committing in so many grunts early on if you're not gonna use them anyways. You would rather grid and expand faster and make more energy rather than just making grunts for no reason if you're never using them. And that's kind of what really set you back here because you uh, in the beginning you kind of struggled with metal and energy management. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like that's a big reason why you were behind this game. Like at the at the at the middle stage of the game. So yeah.
For sure, for sure. And then like on top of that too, like I guess there was a couple stages, right? There was the rocket bots that led to having less units on the left and right side, right? And then
Yeah,
there was
which ended up in having poor engagements. You
right,
kind of lost a lot of grunt battles.
right. And then the next blunder, I suppose, was going like 2 pounders because I think it was like 2 pounders, a missile, and an arty that could have
Yeah,
been incisors to once again have fights on the left and right side that could have gone
yeah. You
my way.
wanna secure grabbing the expansions first, which is why you need fast units. Because if you make slow units, you're not gonna have
Okay,
the reinforcements are not gonna be able to protect your expansions in time.
right.
And you want to also be able to raid him as well, right? You don't want to allow him to take auto map for free. Because that's why you want to keep constant pressure on him, and that's why you need to make incisors early.
Yeah.
You only make units like Pounders and like Wolverines later on when everything is kind of static, nothing is really happening. Like right now, because nothing is really happening, you have half your map, he has half his map. That's where you start making those units, right? Like the Pounders would do a great job against the Tug in the middle because they're so pumped up. Some Wolverines would be very great against the left side pork there with the abilities that he has and
Mm-hmm.
exploiters, right? But yeah, now it's kind of too late, and it seems like I guess it's a matter of time before you lose.
We shall see. I guess my mindset here is still like, oh, I need to make a play to get back into the game, right? As we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier. So I'm like,
You
oh,
either go for like comp snipe, or you can like just go for economy, some huge economic damage by going for a bombing run, or I don't know, some surprise attack, which doesn't seem possible at this point. But yeah. Also, you said you made lashes as well, right? Right? I feel like you want to avoid making those. They are just a very poor answer against air because they're so slow, and this map
right,
has so many hills.
right, right.
It makes their movement kind of, monkeys too slow. You would rather just make your own air units.
I think this
It's like you
lasher, because I think this lasher here is the one I made at the start.
Oh yeah,
I just made like one lasher, one arty, or something like that. So
you actually did get a lot of it, 7 kills. Yeah, having 1 or 2 lashes is good enough. This is good if you have no air. You can like kill some random shurikens here and there.
Right,
when
right,
they're
right.
not being microed.
I mean, like, I guess the last time we talked, you mentioned like basically figs are the best anti-air, so it's like you can either go all in on like static D, I suppose, everywhere, or making figs as anti-air. So that's kind of what I try and lean towards. I think I have a couple of anti-air turrets, but I think I just made those mostly with my commander, just
Yeah.
kind of like this push.
Yeah, but I feel like those are really redundant when you're making air figs.
Okay. So
I feel like you just waste a lot of time walking and time making stuff when you could just be walking and securing expansions and making maxes faster. Right?
yeah.
I just feel like you're just wasting valuable time making stuff that's redundant. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's resign time now.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought to like hang on, right? Because I don't know. I mean, anything can happen, right?
Maybe there's a chance if you do the army and you can res the army, right? But then you would require a lot of res bots.
Which I
Also, let me check your base. So yeah, like, can I see your player camera as well? And can you continue to play? Can you play it? Okay, you see what's going on here, right? You're panicking. You're kind of, oh my god, I'm losing. But you're not really focusing, paying attention to your eco bar. I bet you're not looking at it right now, right? You see how much overflowing you are and how much matter you're stalling on,
Right.
and you're trying to run on 3 labs simultaneously. That's a huge blunder. I feel like in moments like this, you wanna like play calm and focus on fixing those issues, right? The macro side of things, like you don't have to like keep micro units left and right all the time. because you're afraid you're gonna lose, so you wanna make sure you don't lose any unit, right? I feel like I feel like that's not really the best course of action here. I feel like you should be focusing on flipping the macro.
Right,
I feel
right.
like you would be rewarded more that way, rather than like making sure you take perfect engagements. I feel like this is just an APM issue here, or rather effective APM issue,
Right, right.
right? Because most of your APM is just being used repeatedly, moving units left and right, and you could be fixing the eco. So, let's see. Yeah, you made two labs, right? That's like a bit too much. You cannot really afford that much. You're gonna be running low on metal very soon. But you're gonna die? No, you don't. Nice, nice defense.
Yeah, I thought here because I'm like, if I do recover here, I'm gonna have a bunch of metal.
Oh yeah,
So
I mean, now that he fed off his army, it just feels like you're not really losing that hard anymore, right? Like you could be raising everything. Oh, but you quit. But
no,
like,
no, no.
oh
Command.
yeah, but he has so much map control anyway. But it's still there's a small chance that you could come back from this because he fed so much army, and like if you reclaim one of your vehicle apps that you cannot really afford to
Right,
make
right,
anyways
right.
use, you could be spamming a lot of rest bots and just resing everything, and then maybe somehow you could turn it around, right? I mean, of course, the chances are very slim, but maybe
Yeah,
there's
he's
like a
got a
very
pretty
small chance you could come back, right?
pretty healthy eco here, right? From
Yeah, but it does make sense to just resign here, right? It just looks very over. Although the chances are not zero,
right. So,
yeah,
so I guess the main takeaways are over the course of the game, I was like floating E or having E issues, which is just make converters essentially, I suppose.
yeah,
Or and then I guess in the earlier parts, because my open had an early counter and I made so many early grunts, it's best to be proactive and harass and try and get damage. And then
yeah.
I
You either make units to attack or you make cons and just greed. You cannot really like mix things up. You can't
right,
just like make units and then greed. It
right.
doesn't really make much sense.
I guess also the other blunders I was making was we hadn't gotten to that attrition-y part of the game where things slow down. So if we're still in that like flux of things are still happening, right? I should be making incisors and grunts and not these like rocket bots, pounders, wolverines, right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
So um okay, so think some things to look at. I know this is a little higher than average like wind speed, so that can be in a bit of an adjustment, but I suppose it's just effective APM, right? I should be looking at the eco bar and seeing like, oh, I'm accessing 1K energy, right? I should be making converters.
Yeah.
So,
And you can also like I'm stalling on metal. I could be reclaiming one of the labs,
yeah,
right? And like you cannot really afford four labs on so little so
right,
many
right.
little maxes. So yeah. Also, when you notice you're kind of slowly losing map control, you know you're gonna lose your maxes, right? So you also gotta like pay attention to that, right? It's like the reverse scaling. I'm losing map control, so I gotta reclaim my stuff
I see.
rather than make more
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that's a great point,
That's something
actually.
to think about
Yeah.
as well.
Hmm. That's a good point. I actually like the idea of reclaiming the slab in the main base too. I might start
Yeah.
trying that if I
I mean, if you have a front proxy base in the front, and it's something you
right.
could consider doing, absolutely. It's some things that sometimes I also like to do that. Ted is also a big enjoyer of that, making forward bases.
Yeah, yeah. It makes those units like the thug and the pounder that much better, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Um, thugs are kind of insane. Let's get into the next replay because that was a lot of
Hmm.
solid points for that one. What was it? Did I? Ooh, excuse
It
me.
was a Ton Dragons Sub-Evader.
Yeah, I need to put this in my replay folder. I think when was this played on the 9th? Do I have replays that go back that far?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this I feel like we should both start the replay and never pause it, right? Maybe. Or maybe when you say pause, I can also pause.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to be able to watch the replay on my own as well. That's why I kind of struggled with giving uh analysis because I was watching your stream, so it's very uncomfortable for me to provide any
Okay.
like insight. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
I'll pause it at the start, I suppose, and then just kind
yeah,
of count you down. So Let me know when you float it into the game. So while we're at this downtime,
Downtown, huh?
downtown, yeah. um, what's that song? Downtown. Oh, sorry, but so the BPL's finished, right? That's over for this year. But I think how things are shaping up, we're gonna end up doing 4 seasons next year, and it's like one in January, one in April. I don't know. There's gonna be a lot, so stay tuned for more information on that. If the 1v1 scenes are your thing, I think Yudi, you might be interested in that, I suppose. But,
Yeah. Kind of don't want to lose my title.
Yeah, right. Well,
Not
that's
on this stage.
good. Good to hear. Maybe I'll host a tournament at like 4 a.m. or something like that. Starts.
No, please.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is a pretty recent game, right? From just a few days ago, playing against Alt F4, which I don't know if all of you have had that pleasure of playing him in a 1v1, but he's got this like aggressive arm style, which can be kind of tough to deal with, right? So I was kind of trying something new this game. I thought to spawn here in the top right, go vehicles. Oh, let me pause. It's
it's fine.
0.01. Okay.
I'm on. You can pause. You can pause.
Okay. So I thought to spawn in the top right here, play vehicles, and then just expand this way with my commander and try and get all these mixes, right? So that was my plan.
I also tried that doing before. I wouldn't say this is the optimal spawn because their mixes are so far away.
Right.
But at the same time, you're playing just pub games. You want to experiment with new things, right? It's fine to do once in a while.
Yeah. This map is. I don't really play vehicles on this map that much either, and the only other like vehicle style I've seen is just. Well, I guess 2 styles. Like Teddy will start here, and then get like 2 expanding cons, and then of course there's like the X Factor build, right, where you could spawn at any of these and just execute that.
Okay, you see, I feel like I kind of don't agree with the LOT. I feel like once again you're just kind of not confident in your unit micro. Right? I feel like because you had to make an LOT, you didn't have the energy to make the third max. So just in that moment, you lost a lot of metal. Right?
Absolutely.
The other thing is, I don't know if your commander can walk between the max and the win, but because you made the win there, you actually have to go around the max, and you kind of lose a bit of walking time. It's not really a huge deal.
No, that's a great point. Honestly, I think there's space there, and I hope you can walk through that. But yeah,
but still, like it's still like educational for people that are watching. Like you want to avoid making things so the block that like makes your commander walk more. You know, you want to make sure you spend less time walking and more time building. So build your base, make your base layout in a way that you're able to walk as. Like you spend the less fuck. I struggle a lot when I talk, guys.
I can finish that for you if you like. So I guess the point is you want to construct your base and optimize your starting build order such that you're getting the most efficiency out of your commander's build power, right? Which is not walking and not rotating. And really,
listen to this guy.
High level players that I know that are really good at this is like Yudi, of course. Like I'm thinking of like Autopilot, who I've seen construct his base in such a manner where he just has all the wind turbines everywhere, and he didn't walk. Like he just minimized the walking time. So definitely is a big deal at the high level, right? So
yeah, listen to him. He knows how to articulate. I just struggle a lot. Sorry. This is why I don't kind of feel comfortable. Analyzing games, right? Because I'm not really as good when it comes to really talking like this. So, yeah,
it's fine. I can finish your points for you if you just bring them up, you know. But yeah, the LOT is kind of a blunder. I mean, Alta 4 literally goes 1 max ticks, so I'm like, okay, this is like a dice roll, I suppose. If he does that, but actually, I haven't really seen him been doing it that much. He alternates between this like 2 max tick like open and like a 3 max.
Yeah, he changes his opening, but like he always does the same thing, right? Like he always goes for tick spam.
This is super greedy, actually. 2 con turrets finished, and then like he went 2 cons, 2 res bots before ticks. Actually, that's super greedy. So like the literal worst possible decision, I guess, would have been to make this LLT.
one reason I don't like the LOT is because you're spawning so far away from him. It's
Yeah.
gonna take way more time for the tick to arrive in your base.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like because the tick takes a lot of time to arrive, you kind of can use that like advantage to your advantage and just read more. Right? You don't really have to rush in LOT. And you can just rely on rovers because rovers are better against ticks because they outrange, although you do require very tight micro.
Right.
But yeah.
I didn't know they actually outranged them. Excuse me. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Rovers do outrange ticks.
180 to 140. Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So like, if the ticks ever try to get in range, you just have to retreat, just so that like you're just in range of him, but he's not in range of your unit.
Right.
So you're
Okay.
able to kill the unit, the tick.
I know you're supposed to kite ticks with rovers. I didn't exactly know that you're exploiting the range difference as well. So
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you are
yeah.
kiting.
But you have to turn before he gets in range, right? Because you have a turn rate, so
Right.
you have like a very small time window that you're able to do that. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught and lose because the tick has more DPS, I think. Yeah, he has more DPS. So yeah, I feel like the main takeaway here is just making 12 OTs is already a huge blunder. I feel like you could have gotten away with making the maxes faster cons, and just greeting more, right?
Right.
Just because you're spawning so far away from him. And you can only get raided from two angles, right? When you're spawning in the usual standard spawn where
Yes. Yeah.
it's in the middle, you can get raided from 3 angles, even 4 because of the mountains. But where you are right now, there's no mountains near you, so you cannot really get abused by terrain, and there's only like 2 like directions you can get raided from, so it's way easier to defend yourself against raids.
Yeah. The base defends itself.
Your base is also in a flat location, so your rovers kind of they're not really gonna struggle with moving around your base. You know? So, yeah.
That's a good point. So that I guess that translates now, and he's up quite a bit on.
Yeah, I feel like
It's like on 9.
that's why you want to spawn in the middle, just because you can expand it both directions at the same time.
Right.
While when you spawn in the corner, you're kind of limiting yourself to expanding in one direction only, and you kind of lose a lot of meta that way. You kind of, and you also made 2 LOTs and he made 0, so that allowed him to make the cons way faster.
Yeah. That's just like
Because the cost of 2 LOTs is the cost of a con, right? So you're kind of 1 con behind just by making the LOT.
Right. Well, and I guess on the flip side is he made early res bots, right? Which is like eco. So it's like I made defense, he made eco. So
And vehicles are way more expensive. The thing is, you're making the biggest strength of a vehicle con is to expand faster. But the thing is, you're not using that strength at all because you only have 1 con expanding, and you're using your commander to expand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really using that advantage at all, pretty much. This is why, like, unless you're doing the infamous X Factor build, I kind of wouldn't recommend opening vehicles here unless you really know what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I do have a the game Teddy played versus X Factor in the finals. I don't know if you saw that one on this map, Tundra.
Yeah, I did watch that one.
That's a great replay to study if you guys are ever interested. But both vehicle opens are pretty viable, or completely viable, I should say. And that was a really high level game. I think that was one of the better games of the tournament, honestly. But
Yeah.
it's neither here nor there.
I also learned a lot from watching that game. It really gave me like ways of beating X Factor build just by watching that replay.
Right.
Kind of learned a lot.
Yeah, like that's cool to hear. So I think that's in the replay pack. You can find that listed around. I think it's posted on my channel, or it's hanging around. Anyways, go check it out.
Okay, another observation here is that people underestimate how good pawns are against incisors. Like, they're so much faster than incisors, and when they get in range of incisors, they actually outtrade incisors because of the flanking bonus,
Right.
and because of the DPS is so much bigger, so much higher than an incisor. So I feel like because this map is full of pills, and like if he spams a lot of pawns, he can actually count. I can see the Armada bots opening countering X Factor's build here. I feel like I could get away with it.
Right.
So I feel like you kind of had an unlucky matchup here, opening Sizes against Armada.
Hmm.
So yeah.
What would you think? What just if you end up with ARM versus Core on this map, you would favor bots, or you would want to be in that like matchup, bots versus.
Yeah, I feel like Armada bots actually beats core vehicle here. Of course, I could be wrong, but then it's more about less about theory and more about player skill at that point. Like you can't really tell. Like if one matchup wins against the other, it's not because the matchup is bad. It's because the player just outplayed the other player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very hard to tell. I can't really judge much
Yeah,
unless I play myself against someone my level. Right.
One interesting point to add on that is in this ARM bots versus core vehicles matchup, you see like they have the Centurions, which are like I think they actually handle incisors fairly well too, right? Like they kind of shoo them away, right? So.
But the thing I would have Centurions are very good on small maps, but they are very bad on big ones. That's kind of how it goes. Centurions are way too slow to deal against raids,
right?
On maps like this, and like the units, the incisors, for example, they can just go around the Centurions and kill everything, all of the maxes, and the Centurions cannot really catch up to them. Centurions since excel on maps where there are like narrow choke points, because for the units to get past you, you have to fight them, right? You cannot just go around them.
Right.
And this is why I feel like Centurions here are not really the best choice. I feel like Pawns here is the best unit choice by far. Just because they kind of out-trade against incisors, and you have all the mountains to go through, and yeah, you have a lot of trees to reclaim, so you can afford a lot of pawns, and yeah. And because you have the ticks, you can greed and expand way earlier than your opponent. So yeah.
Ticks are so strong. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think the line of sight perhaps is what, like the line of sight and the speed is what makes them so strong. Really, it's like you can know exactly where to go, I guess.
Yeah.
Unlike other raiding units, like the incisor or the grunt or the blitz, right, or the pawn even. So. This is a pretty interesting build queue. 2 cons, 1 Lazarus, 10 pawns, 1 tick, 1 centurion, 5 maces on repeat.
I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, it's not bad, but I don't think it's perfect. But yeah, if it works, it works, I guess.
It's behind 2K middle.
Yeah. I feel like that's the main reason. His opening was just much better.
Yeah.
Because of the spawn, and he greeded more.
Right.
And you made LOTs. So that's why you're so behind in meta right now.
And there's a even bigger energy difference, right? 730 to 400. So
yeah.
Bit of a.
Now that's just a macro diff. He probably just scaled the nanos. He just made the nanos faster,
right.
So he was able to scale the win much faster as well. Right?
Just snowball that. Yeah.
That's why you wanna early in the game. You really wanna maximize your economy, efficiency.
Something to look at, right? I just need to go back and see like all the little mistakes that add up, over time. And I guess in general, I think it was like the 2 LOTs was quite the blunder, right? When you kind of compare the 2 build orders, right? So
the LOT, the commander walking more, the spawn location, right? All of those things add up, right? And that's what really makes the difference. That's why you're so behind in Nico.
Yeah, much quicker. I like how he expanded here. Actually, he just caps these, puts the 2 radars, and then gets to this plus 3 mech spawn quicker. Yeah,
that's what a lot of people do, myself included.
Yeah. I just noticed, and then like I'm failing to do that and like denying this on his side as well. So like my commander's late to this and big raid coming. So just a lot of little things compounded over this game. Maybe not the best match to review versus him, because like I think I've lost longer macro games versus Alt F4 where it's maybe I'm making more mistakes that aren't just attributed to the build order, like difference at the start, right? Like losing the game at the start doesn't feel so bad.
Also, another downside of spawning the corner is like the units take so much time to travel to the other side of the map, right? If you want to send the units to the left side, they're gonna take so much time because the lab is so far away. This is one of the reasons why you want to spawn in the middle, right? Where Uber Vader is.
Yeah, that's like a pretty common like concept, right? Like,
yeah,
and like I guess on top of it too, you're more equally have a more of an equal expansion distance to all the MXs as well. Right?
So I feel like you want to avoid ever spawning in the corner, right? For all the viewers.
Right.
Just spawning in the middle where Uber Vader spawns, and that's like the way to go.
That's the way to do it. All on one mech, one factory. That's interesting. I guess making the Centurions and Maces. Well,
yeah, but look at his meta, right? He's kind of struggling to spend it. But now he killed up in their lab, which is the right thing to do.
Right.
That's where he starts spending his meta.
Yeah, boom, instantly. And then now he's got the energy to even start making bombers. I think that's what he goes. Bombers or gunships. But this is Alta 4's natural transition, right? If he's in this like slight map control, he'll just go gunships, right? So, which is the play, right? It's nice.
Because you are feeling so pressured, you feel like you're behind in land units. You kind of cannot afford to go air units, and he kind of knows that. He's aware of that, and that's where he uses this opportunity to make his own error and just kind of raid you from.
This is kind of
by using gunships and bombers and
game-ending
economic damage. So it's the right move to go for an air transition if you're so far ahead, right? And
I tapped out there. Thought the game was over. Just losing that mid position here, he's raiding all over the place. You know, I'm like, okay.
I feel like the only way to have won this game is to like maybe you should have played less defensive, just like the last game. You should have made less LOTs and you should have been more aggressive with your rovers. I feel like that's the main takeaway here. Really, there's nothing really much that I can say. But yeah, that's also another reason why you don't want to spawn in the corner. If you want to play aggressive, you can't really spawn in the furthest position because your units are going to take way longer to arrive on the opponent's base. So yeah, I feel like.
Those are all great points. That's right. So 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome back to Teddy versus X Factor. We were just discussing how Teddy made like some adjustments to in the earlier round to beat the X Factor build, and I guess now he is up against the man himself, right? So there's a little bit of banter going on, like X Factor saw Teddy's response to his build, and now they're in like a match against each other, right? So a little bit of mind gaming going, or metagaming even going on between these two players. So what did you notice about this replay?
First, the most obvious thing to note, first of all, is you notice that Teddy goes Cortex vehicles. He doesn't go anything else because that's the right thing to do. I did say earlier that Armada bots can actually face against Cortex vehicles, but it is riskier. If you really want to go for a safer approach, I feel like you just want to mirror the match and go vehicles yourselves. If you go Cortex bots or if you go Armada vehicles, you're gonna insta lose the game. I guarantee, because Insazers are just objectively way better than Grunts or Blitzes are.
Right.
Like their stats are just so much better. So maybe there's gonna be incoming nerf in the future. Who knows, right? So yeah, he knows that. So the first thing he does here is rush the fastest rover he can, because you wanna be. He knows that on the X Factor build he makes no LOT in the main base. That's why like he's kind of forcing X Factor to delay his build by investing into his own rovers or LOTs, and that's why you really want to be like aggressive. You don't want to really give time for X Factor to finish his build, because otherwise you're gonna be losing the game if you don't really punish him. So
right.
The first thing he does is rush a very fast rover. The second thing Teddy does here is after the rovers he greeds a lot. And that's also something I like to do against X Factor, because in the first 5 minutes, in the first 2 minutes, there's a time window where X Factor is never sending units to you. Of course, he's sending his own rovers, but you can counter the rovers, right? And once you clean other rovers, he's not going to be sending any other units to your base, because at this time, as we speak, he's walking to the other maxes and he's not really assisting the lab. This is why you're kind of safe, and you can use this time to grid yourself and not make any LOTs or not make any units, and just make cons and expand, right? And then only thing you have to worry about is killing all the rovers that X Factor is making, and this is exactly what Teddy does, right?
Yeah, this is a good defense, right? And he just keeps making rovers, which is smart. I will say that X Factor, I want to say he kind of changed his build up. He stayed on the lab and assisted out a 5th rover before he moves out with his commander, and he even queued up an extra 3 rovers, so 8 before the first incisor, right? So I think normally he goes like 4 to 6 before the first incisor, so he like doubled the amount of rovers he made.
Yeah, the thing is, he knew Teddy was gonna go for the rover spam. That's why he had to make his own rovers, right?
Yep.
Because if you're outnumbered in your rovers, you're gonna lose all your base.
This is hilarious.
You could also be The reason you wanna make rovers like Teddy's doing is because you can get away with making a lot of cons without stalling on. Because if you make cons and incisors, you're not gonna have energy to or metal to expand, you know? Because you're going to be installing on metal and energy if you make incisors and cons. This is why you have to make rovers. And incisors as well are very slow. And because he knows X Factor is always making LOTs in the max expansion that he walks to, the incisors now are not really going to be able to deal a lot of damage. It's just going to be a metal donation. Which is why he doesn't even have to make incisors that early. He just has to focus on making rovers and making a lot of cons to expand as fast as he can. And this is exactly what he does here.
Yeah. I guess I kind of want to pause it here because this is something I took away from the game, right? Like Teddy's in this position where now he has 2 cons expanding left and right. And I guess there's this like window for X Factor to kind of punish this, I suppose. But at a certain point, like Teddy's going to have more eco because like there's just 2 cons expanding to compare to X Factor's 1, right?
The thing is that he has to walk back to produce tanks, right? But by walking back, you're wasting like 20 seconds there, and like that is a lot of time walking. And then Teddy uses that opportunity to be able to like just expand it to the maxes. So he catches up in max amount, and he uses the rovers to avoid X Factor from expanding and avoid X Factor from like just attacking him as well. So he kind of containing X Factor in his own 9 max base, while Teddy has free reign and is allowed to expand everywhere. So yeah.
Given what you said about like he knows there's going to be 2 LOTs right here, the other vulnerable position would be the con is expanding to the other 3 mexes spot to get him onto the 9-10 mexes he needs to be on, right? So it's like you just like know to kind of be over here and harass with the rovers.
Yeah. This is the thing about X Factor is, although it's a very solid build, because it's very predictable, there are a lot of ways to actually approach the build and continuing it. Even though it's very difficult, it is not impossible, right? And if you're a good player, you know what to do. You can pull it off just like Teddy does, and win the game. Well, most likely, yeah.
Well, it's cool to see this different style, right? It's really rover heavy, right? I mean, there's 5 on the left side, 6 in the middle. There's another 6 like on the right side. So yeah, this is great.
The thing is, on the X Factor build, because he's always making incisors and never making a lot of rovers, he's kind of forced to making his own rovers, right? But by making your own rovers, you're not making use of your metal, which is why and by making your own rovers, you're kind of delaying your own incisors, and because he's delaying his own incisors, it kind of gives Teddy a lot of time to be able to expand and get back into the economy game. Right. This is one of the reasons why rover spam is so effective here, is because it forces X Factor to make his own rovers, and that it kind of delays a lot his incisor production by a bit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I guess it's kind of like when you're making ticks, I suppose, and there's that. it's like they're very build power inefficient, I suppose, right? And
Yeah,
it's,
because you can't not really spend your metal.
yeah,
And the thing on the X Factor build, another thing to note is X Factor never really makes a nano, and like if he doesn't make it, then he kind of rely on the commander only to make units. But then like if you stop making assessing the units to make a nano, you're gonna fall behind in rover amount. So you're gonna get pressured a lot, right? So that's all those tiny little details that really, Teddy probably thought about when reviewing the X Factor build.
yeah. It was. I mean, like I said earlier, I thought this is one of the better games in the of the tournament.
Yeah.
Really, just the little bit, just the mind gaming and the deviations, right?
Yeah, you can see how X Factor has no rovers in his armor composition. That's why Teddy is able to like use the rovers to just raid everywhere. Although they kind of get caught, and the other die to self max. So that was a very nice play by X Factor. And now this is where it becomes dangerous. But like at this point, you can see Teddy has 50% more metal income than him, because the rovers bought him a lot of time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to expand and make his own incisors. Right? And now this is kind of X Factor knows he's behind in expansion probably, so he wants to use his build to be able to apply as much pressure,
Yeah,
but then
yeah.
you kind of risk yourself donating a lot of metal. Right?
I think that
And
was
this is
kind of the better, like the better case scenario. Yeah, he could have gotten right. Maybe he could have been a little more efficient, but like getting the con there in 2 mexes, I think. Was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
that
best,
was very good.
the best he could have gotten for it. Does he get this con? I don't think he does. No.
Yeah, but now that he's forced to retreat, he loses all his tempo, right?
Yeah.
And now this is where the build kind of falls apart, because the build, it's really especially strong in the first 6 minutes, because you always win under 6 minutes because you have such an overwhelming amount of things. But the moment you have to retreat, you kind of gonna fall behind in the long game, because now you're behind in expansion. You have way less maxes, and now you're kind of, you're kind of putting yourself in a position where like you either have to commit into your own attacks and deal economic damage, or you're just gonna fall behind in the long game, which is what happens here, though. Although X Factor is able to apply some pressure, but at the same time it comes with the how do you say? He's kind of donating metal, and it's a kind of a risk committing so much into being aggressive. Yeah.
You're like activating that defender's advantage and the reclaim mechanic, so to speak. Of course, X Factor did do. This was actually. I wish I could seen like how did he know to turn around here? I actually remember kind of watching this.
Oh, maybe he saw the incisors coming from the right side.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a game sense sort of thing, right?
Yeah, that was.
You're kind of predicting the enemy is gonna do that because the right side is so open.
Right.
And you have no radar there, so it is very easy for your units to get caught. Cons to get caught.
Right.
I guess that's what makes him a top 2 and 1 player.
Yeah, for real. I was blown away. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was just sick game sense to.
Sometimes you just have this gut feeling where I shouldn't really be expanding blindly here without any vision.
It makes sense
because
right?
2 cons is very expensive, especially because you cannot rest them because they're vehicles and they're vehicle cons. They're so expensive.
Right.
You want to make sure you never lose those. So you want to be better safe than sorry, right? You want to play it safe. Before expanding, you want to make sure they're at least safe to expand without dying. So yeah.
I think someone I know who's so diligent about that is like Andy. I see him all the time. Like he'll make this pretty similar to this, right? The con is coming down off the high ground, makes a radar, and then is like expanding, so see him do that all the time. Or these high level players in general are very good at doing that, right? Protecting the cons. Yeah, I was very surprised too, like all the rover damage that's still happening, right? Like 10 minutes into the game. And
yeah. But yeah, at this point, it's not really more about the X Factor build. Now it's just a normal macro game, right?
Right.
At this point, it's just because it seems pretty even right now, all things considered.
Yeah. think
So yeah.
a little bit of an energy advantage. It kind of seems like going to X Factor.
Yeah, but I feel like even though X Factor is ahead, I feel like the main issue is all the reclaim is on Teddy's side because all the engagements happen on his side of the map.
Right, right.
So I guess he kind of gets the upper hand when it comes to metal. And now and now it's just about who has the better macro at this point.
I mean, so is there something to be said about then just greeting is hard? The game is more about greeting your half of the map as quickly as possible, because like we see the downside of harassing and slowing down your opponent's expansions is the risk of, you know, donating the metal, leaving the reclaim on their side of the map, right? So is it like even worth doing, like playing this kind of style, or is it more, like better?
Yeah, it is worth, but then you have to commit less into sending a lot of units, and you have to rely more on the micro, like get more return by making, like, how do I explain this?
Oh, okay.
You would get better value by sending 5 good micro tanks than sending in 10 micro tanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is how I try to abuse my opponents. It's like instead of sending all my army, I like to send in 5 tanks. And if I macro the 5 tanks properly, it's gonna take the enemy like 20 tanks to be able to react against the 5 tanks. Because I always try to spread my tanks in a way that they're never getting caught, and they're always able to do economic damage. That way, even if you feed the tanks, if you kill a lot of maxes, it's still worth it. But the story changes when you send like 20 tanks to kill for maxes, right? And like this is where the player, he kind of decides to just be lazy on the micro. He kind of just wants to send in all his army without paying attention to that. You know what I mean?
Right. No, that's a great point.
Difficult to explain this, but yeah, I think you get my point, sort of.
Well, it's like maybe I could rephrase it. You get economic value or like damage harassing by doing more with less, but having better micro, I suppose. Like just
yeah, this is where APM comes into play as well, right? Just spending so much APM moving your tanks around to make sure they're never getting caught, and making sure they kill as many maxes as possible before dying. Right. And this is where they get a lot of value, right? So this is where like this is where attacking actually becomes very effective, even though the enemy has the defender's advantage.
Right.
The thing is, the bigger the map, the easier it is to maneuver your units, right? Just like in this fight right here, like if he micros all the 5 tanks, the medium tanks are not going to be able to catch all the tanks, and then like all those tanks can kill so many maxes that even though he's donating 5 tanks, he's getting a lot of maxes, and it becomes worth it at the end, right? And then in the middle, this is where the opposite happens. Like he has most of his army there, and like, you know, he's just not really doing much, so you know, it kind of becomes a metal feed.
Yeah, incisors into media tanks isn't really what you want to be grabbing. Oh, he doesn't get this con if I remember. Yes. So 100 health. Wow. Still Rover's picking off mexes. Like, it's crazy.
I feel like Teddy knows that X Factor. I mean, I don't know if he knows, but X Factor is not really much of an LOT spammer. And that's where you can adapt to your opponent's playstyle and abuse those things, right?
Make more rovers if, you know, they greed harder. So I'm thinking.
Yeah, like you would never make a lot of rovers against Ragnar, for instance.
Right.
Your rovers are not gonna get value.
Right.
They're gonna die to like LOTs everywhere.
Right. I'm thinking like Blodeer. He likes to naked expand.
Yeah, slow as well as another good example. Turksy, myself sometimes.
Yeah. I think Alta 4 does as well. If he's got map control, he'll naked expand, which is cool to see.
It really does make sense because the ideal way of playing Armada bots is by greeting. Because if you're making LOTs when you have powerful assets, which are ticks, you're kind of playing it wrong, right? Because ticks are always gonna like out trade or out micro any other unit. So ideally, all the ticks are gonna be in the enemy base and they're never gonna be getting caught, which kind of forces the enemy to be always playing defensive. and that's why you can get away with explaining
Yeah,
without
yeah,
making
yeah.
LOTs.
Yeah, well said.
You know?
Which is a little frustrating to play against, I will say. So
Yeah. It's very annoying. Like
uh,
ticks when properly microed, very tough to do against.
yeah.
That's why you have to like adapt to yourself as well and kind of make adjustments to your gameplay. So yeah. Oh, the replay froze. This screen
Did
froze.
it? Oh,
But at this point, I guess like we're past the point of like we came here to watch the X Factor build dynamic,
right.
you know. But now
right.
it's kind of past that point. Now we're just watching
Stabilized.
a slow macro game. It's nothing much going
Okay,
on.
okay. Well, let me speed it up and I'll do a little bit of an outro maybe for us. So, yeah, Yudi, thanks for coming on. I know we need to record another episode kind of shortly, just maybe reviewing the finals together. I know we've done that past couple
Yeah.
seasons, so hopefully we
I
can.
wouldn't mind reviewing my games. Those were a blast to play.
Nice, nice. They were really fun to watch. Dude. That game with
Yeah.
Aurelia was kind of insane. Dude. It
Oh,
was just
yeah.
like
I guess we win as well. Those games, except
Real-
the first game, that was very. It really caught me by surprise. The first
Right,
game against
right.
Randy.
I'll-
Yeah.
I'll have to admit, I was kind of rooting for Andy there on the game 3 there. It's like,
I feel at this point everyone is winning against me. I don't blame them. I understand.
you know,
We want a new winner at some point.
right. You know, it's good for the scene and like. Anyways, I will say though, it was a kind of unfortunate to see the imbalance in that map spawning positions kind of play out because it's like
ravaged, right?
yeah, you have like the titles there on the left side, and I think I don't want to take discredit your open because you played well that game and you got like the value with the early ticks, right? But I think it just shows you like how strong titles are on that map, right? So
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a great series, man. So I'm looking forward to having you back on and reviewing those games. So if that's something y'all are interested in, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, you know, show your thanks for Chisato, and hopefully we can get you back on soon.
See ya.
Hey, man. Thank you.